In terms of the difference that now that Council has rejected the idea of a freeze, the difference that this will make for CADA?
This will make an enormous difference. You know, we have by far the lowest arts funding in the country. And one of the reasons for that is because we've had an incredibly generous philanthropic sector. Real big companies giving lots of money. And that money has really dried up. So a lot of the larger organizations and the smaller ones have found themselves in some pretty significant trouble. And so this increase of $5 million into the base will help. Frankly, it's not enough. And we'll have to think about in future years how to increase that even more, because ultimately this is a very small part of the city's budget, but the leverage it has in terms of the economic development that it promotes and the jobs that it supports is extraordinarily high. So, you know, the increase we are making to the arts is maybe 1% or 2% of the public transit budget, for example. But it's money that has huge leverage, and I think that that's important for us to remember.
Is the arts an easy target for critics to go after?
Yeah, of course. First of all, it happens to be the first tab in the binder, which always means that those who need to prove that they can cut something will always be more aggressive at the beginning than at the end. That's why you always want to be the utility, starts with a U. Yeah, but obviously, you know, this would have made literally no difference to the tax increase. You know, the amendment that was on the floor, which was to cut $1.25 million, literally no difference to the taxes at all. And so, as a result, you know, because it's first, people want to show that they can cut, but also it's an easy one because it's easy to talk about, you know, those elitists and what they get, not realizing what an important part of economic development it is.
Notwithstanding those points, though, I guess when people hear, you know, the fire department budget is being cut, but arts is getting more, they might say there seems to be a disconnect. How would you respond to that?
Well, let's be clear, the fire department budget is not being cut. What happened is that the fire department has lost one contract. So that's a wash. They lost the revenue and they lost the expense. So it looks like it's a decline. It isn't, because they no longer serve the airport.
Million, right? It was a $3
Hold on. And the other $6 million was just because something got transferred from fire to facilities. So the facilities people will mop the fire halls instead of the fire department mopping the fire halls. So the only cut was a little tiny cut, which council today reversed on an 8-7 vote.
So what is your sense in the early innings here of where the sentiment is?
Early innings? Isn't this the 7th inning?
Well, I was hoping, but but I have to be a realist. But what is your sense generally? Not naming individual councillors, but just generally your sense of council.
The majority of councillors have done a lot of thoughtful work. They have not been guided by random ideology. They're actually looking line by line on things that they think they would like to see more of and they would like to see less of, and I love that. It's actually my favorite part of the whole process is when we go through this line by line. I know it can be excruciating, but I really like it. And so I think the vast majority of councillors have done that. I suspect that we will end up with something that looks a little different than what was proposed on Monday, but it remains to be seen what that'll look like.